Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners of Business Innovators Radio. This is your host, Andy Curry, and today I am really excited to have with me Lance Allred. Now, Lance is an interesting guy. I'm really anxious for you to hear what he has to say. First of all, he's been speaking professionally at this point for 6 months. Now, you may say, but it's only 6 months, but wait till you hear what he has to say. It's very interesting. Lance has retired from professional basketball. Now, when I asked him about the content he speaks on, he told me it's team leadership, goal setting, and perseverance. And I'm really anxious to hear about that. And Lance speaks in the U.S. He is based out of Utah. He has written a couple books, and the first one is called Longshot. And the second one is called Basketball Gods, G-O-D-S. So, Lance, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Great to have you with us. Now, the first question that listeners want to know is what your speaking business is about. What is it you talk about? How are you helping people? That kind of thing. So elaborate on that.
Yeah, I will. So I was born and raised in a polygamist commune in rural Montana, and I'm actually severely hearing impaired. I was the first legally deaf player in the NBA. The reason why I'm hearing impaired is I was born in my grandmother's bedroom in this rural compound in Montana, and I didn't have the medical necessity to take care of what is known as the RH factor. I won't go into too much detail on that, but my mother was a negative, my father was a positive blood type. And so because of this, I have been severely hearing impaired, about 75% hearing impaired all my life. And the reason why I'm able to communicate with you right now is because digital is a great age to be deaf. I have these tiny hearing aids, and my speaker phone is on, so it's on full blast up next to my ear, and your ears would be ringing for the rest of the day if you listen to what I was listening to. But at the age of 5, I had a Sunday school teacher that told me that God had made me deaf as a form of punishment for being unfaithful in the pre-existence. And so we don't talk about religious abuse. That's actually something that really does happen. And it's something I really love to discuss with people. There's all forms of abuse, and there's trauma and post-traumatic stress that all of us have to go through. And when my family broke away from polygamy, I was 12, and that's when I grew from 5'10" to 6'4", and I started playing basketball. And I had never played basketball up to this point. And so it was a new way for me to make friends in this new school that we were living in. And I had over 400 first cousins, and they were my best friends. And now all of a sudden we broke away, and I don't see them anymore, so I had no friends. And so I enjoyed the camaraderie that basketball was providing. But also, I was playing in my own messed up paradigm that God would love me. And that was my main driving force. And so fast forward through lots of crazy adventures and stories, I became the first legally deaf player in the NBA when I signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2008. And I remember standing there on the court thinking, is this it? Is this the best that it gets? And because why wasn't I suddenly happy? Why didn't I feel that God loved me? And I realized I've been playing for validation, external validation. That's a losing game. And so after that, I went on a little walkabout around the world, traveling every continent across the globe, playing in dozens of countries. And most of the time, more often than not, I'll just say the majority of times, I was a team captain on those teams. Because I learned, maybe through my hearing impairment, how to read body language and to see that people don't always tell you what they want to tell you, but their body tells you something completely different. And I have these old, archaic coaches trying to implement these outdated concepts of what real leadership is. And it was just a disaster to watch sometimes, and it just would not benefit anybody. And so the 4 things I really talk about, aside from my main motivational rah-rah keynote, the inspirational one, I talk about team leadership, goal setting, and perseverance. And those are like my 4 staples that I really learned as a team captain on all these, in all these cultures around the world, in all these teams with all these alpha type personalities in every culture with language barriers dividing us. And I learned as a team captain how to get the most out of my teammates as the leader implementing these 7 facets of leadership and then these 5 concepts of team, that I feel I'm able to bring a fresh lens. Because anyone can read a John C. Maxwell book and regurgitate it on a stage if they're a good enough speaker. But I'm actually someone that has walked the walk through all these cultures, every continent except for Antarctica, and I've done it. And I have a world of experience, and experience trumps the book any day. It just does.
Definitely.
And so that has allowed me very quickly, the 6 months since I retired, to kind of gain momentum. And people are like, actually, okay, what does the guy have to say? So looking back, I'm lucky through all these crazy experiences that has prepared me to transition out of basketball so well.
That's fascinating. So what got you started in the speaking business? Why did you start speaking? How did it happen?
Well, why did I start speaking? Well, the funny thing I joke is I don't have to hear anyone talk to me. I just get to talk, so I don't have to worry about hearing and translating. And see, I don't hear the consonants. I hear vowel shifts, A, E, I, O, U, and the hearing is good enough now at the digital age that I can hear the tone shifts, especially if your voice is lower register. I can, okay, I understand what's going on. But a lot of times, that you don't have, I'm going to kind of maybe cuss here, but you don't have any times I've been called an asshole in my life because people think I'm ignoring them, but my back's to them and I can't hear them.
Right.
And it's because of my speech. People don't understand how hearing impaired I am. My mom had me in speech therapy twice a week until I was 15. And then finally, when I got the digital hearing aids, I was like, oh, now I hear the diction at the front of the mouth instead of, when deaf people talk, you hear them kind of talk in the back of the mouth without much diction because we feel the reverberation in our skull and we feel like we're making a sound.
Right.
And so then the digital, I finally started to get the diction. And then at the same time, both my parents are public school teachers. So my dad was a history teacher, AP history teacher at high school for 25 years. And I would, as a kid, grow up and I'd go watch him teach these lessons. And I was fascinated with how well he spoke. But also, my grandfather was ruling Allred. He was the founder of the AUB, the Apostolic United Brethren, this polygamist group. And he was assassinated in 1977. And I guess I kind of joke, well, I guess I have a penchant for gabbing with my long lineage of polygamous charlatans. I mean, so... And when we broke away from polygamy, we joined the Mormon Church. I'm not a religious man now by any means, but my experiences around the world kind of blown out all those paradigms. But growing up in Mormonism, those who are familiar with it, there's not like a priest or a pastor that talks every Sunday. It's a very democratic religion. And so everyone takes turns speaking. And so growing up from the age of 14 to 18, I was in a lot of positions where I learned to do public speaking through the church, and looking back, I'm glad it taught me a lot of the skills of public speaking. But another great story is before I was called up to the NBA, one of my jobs was I was playing for the Idaho Stampede in the NBA Development League. And I only made the team at the time basically to be the token white guy. I was just the guy at the end of the bench. They had me to do all the media stuff, to go do public speaking to schools and do the radio and TV interviews. And at the time, I was like, oh, man, this is a waste of time. This is a joke. I was only making $1,100 a month and worried about my basketball career, what's going to happen. But because I made the most out of the situation, I developed a lot of skills for public speaking through that. Through other people pigeonholing me, I made the most of it and took advantage of it and developed the skills to do that. And then on my book tour, I got really comfortable with just talking in front of people.
That's fantastic. That's neat. That's, one of those stories where you hear someone's got this disability going on and they just kicked butt anyway. I love that.
I mean, yeah, well, Andy, I say people have been telling me all my life what I can and can't do. I simply choose not to listen. I can't hear them anyway.
There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, and, that's one thing I talk about. When I talk corporate, I talk teams, I talk the whole gamut because there's some facet and aspect of my life, my story that resonates with any audience. And I focus on that. Like when I talk with teams, I use that story like I just shared with you. A lot of kids think, oh my gosh, I don't know how these fair. It's not fair. This isn't fair. My life isn't being the same level playing field. And I could have done that too, but I told them every moment is an opportunity to take advantage, to learn from something. Whenever I walk in the room, there's been so many times I show up to a networking event, and there's like 3 or 4 people, and it's a total bomb. But every time I walk into something, I say, you know what, there's got to be someone in here that I can connect with, that can become a friend of mine. And because of that, I have, in all those experiences, 3 of my closest now business associations, I made friends with them in that kind of setting because I said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm here anyway. I'm going to make the most out of it. And that's something I really love talking with teams about. Besides bullying, I was a huge target of bullying when we moved here to Utah, and I'm really still polygamist, and I was caught funny. And my keynotes, I have a video of me talking at the age of 12, and it blows people's minds because you can't understand me. That's how bad it was.
No kidding.
And I talked with teams about bullying, but also goal setting. And but also making the most out of the situation and not being a victim, because I had a huge victim mentality, not only because I was hearing impaired, but also the martyr mentality. My grandfather was assassinated. Everyone's out to get us. So it just perpetuated itself. In reality, it perpetuated itself. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm not getting anything out of being a victim anymore, except for maybe a pat on the back and a cookie. It's time to grow up and be accountable for everything that I do, whether it's good or bad, and all up to that. And that resonates not only with teams, but also at corporate levels.
Well, what a great realization, because you certainly frankly had every right to be a victim if you wanted to, but you chose not to.
Yeah, no. Last month I was running my annual basketball camp for deaf kids here in Salt Lake. And that's one thing I really try to get home, because the deaf community, it's hard to reach out to them. Because, again, they have this very exclusive mentality sometimes. Oh, the world is judging us. They think they're better than us, but really we're better than them. And so it becomes a stonewall. And so I run these camps to try to break down these barriers with these kids, but also let them know a victim doesn't get you anything. I've been there. I've done it. I've tried it. And I didn't get anything I got in my life by playing the victim. And I let them know, but it's really prominent in deaf culture. It really is. And so I look back, look at my life, and then I see these other kids that I work with that are very quickly able to fall into that role. And so it's definitely a challenge, but I'm someone that really had a huge cloak of Job martyrdom complex that it took a lot of work to outgrow it and really just change my paradigm.
I'll bet, because you're steeped in it for so long. That's the habit just probably was really hard to fight. So my hat's off.
Your habits, but also genetically, it's passed down. I mean, just from that culture, my grandfather was arrested for polygamy back in the 40s, and we go into hiding. That's why he developed this commune up in rural Montana, and you think the government's out to get you. And so it not only with the hearing impairment, but just the culture I was raised in, it was just a double dip of just huge Eeyore complex from under the pillow.
Yeah, no kidding. I love Eeyore, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Anyway, now, team leadership, goal setting, perseverance, etc. When you're talking to someone about goal setting, what's the number one thing you would tell someone about goal setting?
Goal setting, here's the thing I learned. When I was 14, I started playing basketball. People asked me, who was your role model as a kid? I didn't really have one. Honestly, I said, there isn't anyone with hearing loss in any major sport right now, and I'm going to do it. And so what I learned is everyone's heard, you write your goals down. That's important. But what I did, I wrote my goals down. I put them above my light switch. So every morning, every night when I woke up and went to bed, I would recite them 10 times each time, every day. I did that every day of my life. And everything I had written down has come true. Does it look exactly like I expected it to look like? No. But every goal that I have set for myself, in some way or another, I have achieved it. But reality can never live up to our expectations and fantasies. It's impossible. And Hollywood's done us such a disservice by, these happily ever after stories. Kiss in the Rain, triumphant musical score, end roll credits, they live happily ever after. It doesn't exist. Life goes on the next day. And that is what happened with me with the NBA and the book deal. I'm like, wait, why am I not just suddenly happily ever after? And And that the thing is, I learned is I still set goals and I achieve them because I want to, but I do not attach my self-worth to them anymore. And that's what I did for so many years. We lived from event horizon to event horizon, thinking that's going to fill this hole in our gut and make us feel better about ourselves. And I could spoil all my keynotes by telling you how I learned to do that, but maybe people might just have to come see me in person.
I think that's a great idea. Now, the deaf kids that you work with at basketball camps, how do you communicate with them?
I know a little bit of sign. The thing is, I have gotten a lot of flack from the deaf community over the years. 2002, I was on the Team USA Deaf National Team. We played in Greece. We got silver. I sprained my knee the game before, so I wasn't able to play. It was one of the saddest things. I love those guys. But I've gotten a lot of flack from the deaf community. They can kind of say, "Oh, is he embarrassed to be deaf? Why doesn't he sign?" But I'm like, sorry, I was born and raised in a polygamist commune, and I was the only deaf kid in like 100-mile radius. So there were no amenities to learn sign language. And so I was thrown into the fire and started doing speech therapy at the age of 2 through constantly being pushed out of my comfort zone. And yet you see so many of these other kids in these camps, I know it can actually hear better than I can. Yet they're so afraid of being ostracized or bullied or being pushed out of their comfort zone. They stay within the comfort zone. And I know a little bit of sign through my years, but I also have a translator with me who hears fine. He's a twin. His brother's deaf, and so he hears perfectly fine. He translates, and he also knows he's pretty good at basketball, so he helps me. And we're able to communicate, but I'm picking up stuff, getting better at it each time. And so, I mean, it's really rewarding because it's just something I get to do, and I'm the only one in the world that really, who better than me to do it, to work with these kids. And, you know, I'm a lucky guy. I don't like using the word blessed. Most of life is luck and timing. You're in the right place at the right time, and who you know, and are people there to help you along the way. And when people say, "Oh, I got where I got on my own hard work and merit," they're a liar. Hard work and merit gets you places, but people have to help you. You have to have someone help you.
Right.
And I'm glad I'm able to do that with these kids. Now, are they going to be professional basketball players? I don't know, but at least I'm teaching them, you know what? The only limitations that truly exist are the ones we place on ourselves.
Now, let me ask you a question, but I need to preface it with a little information. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, my 84-year-old mother had really hurt herself. A bathroom stall door closed on her hand, and I had to rush her to the emergency room in a town where we don't live in. And when we were in there, I was getting impatient because my mother was in such pain. She was crying. Nothing worse than seeing your mother cry from being in pain. That was hard. But
sure.
The doctor finally came in, and we got to talking, and I said, "Where did you get your medical education?" And she said, "In Kansas." And as I got to listen to her, I was fascinated because her dad came to the U.S. from Iran. And he was 26 when he came, because the reason he came is he had to get out of Iran because he was willed a village, but his brother lost the village in a bet. I didn't know you could lose a village.
I had no idea you could bet a village.
But I didn't either. And so he came to America because he heard of opportunities. And he arrived in America, and he had been sort of sitting next to somebody who knew how to speak some English. So when he got in America, the guy he was with went to order ham and eggs for breakfast. And that's all the English her dad knew at first. And so for the next 3 months, that's all he ate, because that's all he knew to order. Mm-hmm. But he went to a college and just showed up one day with an interpreter, said, "I'm here for my scholarship." And they said, "What scholarship?" And it was his understanding he was going to get a scholarship just by showing up, as near as she explained it. And they said to him, "Well, there is no scholarship. Now that you're on American soil, there's no way you can get that scholarship." And somehow a professor overheard this conversation. He intervened and he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll make sure that we pay for your education, but you have to make straight A's. And so this 26-year-old Iranian who didn't understand English, later that day went out and bought a newspaper and a dictionary and studied from that on and became a prominent cardiologist in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've told you that, and I've heard what you said, my question is, why the difference? Why did you and why did he do what you've done, and those people and other people who don't even have those kind of challenges? Why is that?
Well, my parents are the hardest workers I ever saw. We believed in this utopian society. It was a socialist, polygamist commune. And I saw my father build home after home for the good of the cause, never to receive one of his own, because he believed in this cause greater than himself. And he maintained his integrity through all of it. And how I define integrity is, are you the same person no matter who you're with? Someone who's rich or poor, someone who's powerful or not, someone who can help you or not. Do you treat everyone the same? And my father was the son of a prophet, and he could easily get a snob like many other people. Yet he was not, and that's why he was adored. And to me, that is integrity, who you are through it all. And taking that example, and even then, I would say, plus, the story when my teacher, Sunday school teacher, is letting me know that God has punished me for being unfaithful in this pre-existence. It made me feel that I had to earn love, and that's not good. It's a double-edged sword that made me work that much harder just to fit in and be normal. But I was never going to fit in because leaders don't fit in. Being a leader is lonely. And I did not understand that as a kid. I kept trying to fit into the norm. I never was going to do it. Not just because I'm 7 feet tall, but just because it's not my path. And then so that makes me think. So some of it's just my nature, but also the nurture, seeing my dad, but also my environment lighting this fire that maybe fear-based, that I have to earn love. But, also my parents tell you, even when I was a little kid, I was just the most stubborn of their 5 kids. And, some people say, an astrologist will say, you were born in your Aquarius sign or whatever. I don't know. I think people have different opinions on all of it. But just for me, I don't know, Andy, just spite is a great motivator. And I've had so many people with my stubborn nature and my work ethic I got, my parents, were having so many people telling me what I can and can't do. I just have a nasty habit of proving people wrong. I love a good challenge. And sometimes it gets me into trouble. But, I just felt, even when I was born in Montana, growing up in this commune, it's like there's a big world out there. And all we know right now, we can talk about religion all we want, but all we truly know is that we're going to die. And we don't know what happens. We can create these stories and whatnot around an afterlife or heaven or not. We don't know. So all we know for sure is this is the only life we got. And this is the hand I was dealt. So be it. I'm going to get up every morning and give it the best I can because I choose to. That's the only answer I can give anybody.
Well, fantastic. Now, I'm sure the audience listeners are wanting to know your height.
I am 6'11".
6'11".
On a good day, when I'm feeling good about myself.
There you go. Now, are your parents tall people?
Funny story. My dad's 6'4". He's a good sized man. My mom's 5'10". But her mom, my grandmother, is 6'1".
No kidding.
That's a large woman.
That is.
But the 5 kids, I'm the youngest of 5. My 3 older sisters are all shorter than my mom, around 5'8", 5'9". And my brother's 6'6", a little taller than my dad, but I just kind of came out of nowhere.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Well, Lance, this is just absolutely fascinating information.
Yeah, we could probably talk for hours, couldn't we?
We could, and we've gone over time limit, but that's okay because I get the option of doing that, and I just had to know more. So thank you so much for for pulling back the curtain and giving us a peek into your life and what's going on and how you've done it. What an inspiring story. And I know your audiences really just walk away thinking, that they can persevere and do what they want to do.
You may as well. Because whether you fail or succeed isn't nearly as important as whether you try. Because again, we attach too much of our self-worth to the outcome, success or fail. The fact that you're just trying is implying that you're growing and getting to know who you are. That's the most important thing.
Definitely. Well, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy, for having me. It's a blast.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.